Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're back for another Dragon Ball Sparking Zero discussion video. So I know a lot of you guys have seen the new trailer for the upcoming DLC this summer. And I was kind of shocked by a lot of the things we saw because this DLC could have took many different routes, right? We could have got stuff from superheroes, we could have got manga content, we could have got a lot of things, but I am kind of happy with the route they're taking, which is kind of filling in the gaps of stuff we need for the game, right? To help the game become a lot more full, because characters like Super 17, King Piccolo, and Super Saiyan Bardock are characters that may not be that important to the story, but when they're added, it kind of helps the game feel more full, right? Because a lot of debate has kind of been, we don't really need characters, we need more modes and stages and stuff to make the game more fun, kind of, you know? Instead of just a toy box of fighters. But anyway, let's take a look at this article we got here, right? So basically, we're going to be getting some new DLC, right? We're going to be getting costumes and stages and modes, but also a couple of characters, right? And in the trailer, we did see more than these three characters, right? We got Grandpa Gohan, Zangya, Pikkon, which I really wanted in the game. I was kind of confused why we didn't get Pikkon. But anyway, when we take a look here, right, we can see that the last season pass of DLC that we got around 25 characters here, right? Including the forms, right? Because then it's not just going to be one character, like Vegeta Mini Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 are 4 characters, even though it's just Vegeta Mini, you know? But yeah, it is an extra character. When you add in all the forms, it's multiple characters. But let's take a look at what I got here, right? So I'm going to use that baseline of 25 characters to try to predict what characters we can possibly get, right? So we have the confirmed ones. We have Super 17, Super Saiyan Bardock, and Demon King Piccolo. And in that trailer, at the end, it was very quick. We got some cameos of other characters, right? We got Pikkon, General Tao, Grandpa Gohan, Champa, Zangya, and Devilman, which we only seen his foot, but we can tell it's our boy. So these are the characters we're going to get right now, right? I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be a pack or what it's going to be, but taking it as a new season pass of DLC, which it should be, right? If they add in new stages and costumes like that, we should get more than just 9 characters, right? And they're kind of hinting at that as well. Because a lot of these characters that we have here are returning from Budokai Tenkaichi, right? And like Super 17, Demon King Piccolo, Pikkon, a few of these, right? But Bardock and Champa, these are completely new characters that we haven't seen in the series yet. Which a lot of people are saying this is just adding stuff that we already should have had in the base game. So that does give us a few clues in characters we could get, right? Because it needs to make sense. So if we have Champa, obviously we would get Vados. That would make sense because Vados is in Xenoverse and we have Whis in the game. So that makes sense. She has a moveset they could bring in from that game. And then with Super Saiyan Bardock, well, I don't think we're going to get Lord Shield because he was fighting Frieza in the trailer, so that was kind of the filler for Lord Shield. I don't know if we are ever going to get Lord Shield. He honestly doesn't have the hype for it. But I think another great character that we're going to get, since we have Super 17, Nova Shenron, right? Nova Shenron is the only other GT character that's in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that could get added to Sparking Zero. And he's kind of a popular character, right? He's a pretty, he's the 4-star Dragon Ball, right? He's the incarnation of the 4-star Dragon Ball, and he already has a moveset from that game. So bringing him back is just obvious. That would make perfect sense, right? The next most wanted character, I think, important-wise, that already has a model in the game when we are going through the main menu screen, Supreme Kai, right? A lot of people thought we would get Supreme Kai from the Daima DLC because he's prevalent in the story. He fights and he's with Goku. But it wouldn't make sense to give us Kid Supreme Kai or Supreme Kai Mini and not the original version, right? We also have Kabito Kai, which is, the fusion form, but I don't know if we'll get that just because, the whole canon thing, right? Or we will just get that. It doesn't really matter, but I think more important just to give us Supreme Kai because it is kind of strange why we wouldn't get him, right? Because he's a pretty important character. The next characters I think we will get, I said Salza because we are getting Zangya, right? And Zangya, honestly, is a random character. That's the most random character out of all the... I mean, along with Devilman, honestly. But, importance-wise, right? Pikkon, obviously, if he feels missing. General Tao, they actually mentioned in an interview, so he's clearly a missing character that they didn't add. Champa's Beerus' brother, but Zangya is just a random character, right? So it would... But she's also the henchman of Bojack, right? Bojack's right hand woman, right? Or his girlfriend, honestly. But Salza is the right-hand man of Cooler. And he has a moveset from the game, and they could perfectly just bring him in. That would be totally fine for them to do. Another important character, Aider. We have Aider into the game. That would be really good. I love Aider. He's a fan-favorite character. He's also an android, so he would have some Ki Blast abilities, and he would have the same mechanic that all androids have, which is automatic Ki replenish. Same with Aurelie. Aurelie is also an android, and she would have the same thing that Aider has. Aurelie, though, is from the Dr. Slump series. She is in Dragon Ball, so, she could be in the game, and she is from Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So I think she could be brought back. I know it's a little outdated, a lot of people would go Aurelie, what? But she's also in Super, right? So they can bring her back. That would be totally fine. We have General Blue as well. A lot of people mention him. He's got some movesets they can give as well, right? He's got some android things, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, they can totally bring him back. That'd be fine. Like I mentioned earlier, Vados, right? Vados is obviously coming because of Champa. If we don't get Vados, that's a little strange, honestly. And taking that same logic, we should get Ice Shenron, right? I know Ice Shenron wasn't in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but he's not that hard to give us, right? Give us the same model with different colors with different moves, right? That's totally fine for them to add. And it would be a little weird if we got Nova Shenron and not Ice Shenron. I mean, we could also get all of the Shadow Dragons too. I don't know if they want to do that. I really didn't go heavy with GT. I want to because I personally love GT, but I'm not going to go that far because I'm just picking a few useful characters, right? And then, speaking of useful characters, Fasha. The only reason I even picked Fasha is because she's a Saiyan, and taking the same logic of Zangya, bringing in a female character from Budokai Tenkaichi 3, right? They're not going to give her grade 8 form because of, they didn't bring back the grade apes from Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but the term grade ape needs the original great ape in the game. I don't know why they didn't give grade ape to Goku. Kid Goku, they could have easily did that, right? Because his ultimate is literally a grade 8 fist. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because why would Vegeta, Scouter Vegeta, have his grade 8 form and not Kid Goku? This is the basic grade ape, the first grade ape we've seen in the series, right? They could give him default moves. It is what it is. Punches and kicks and blast and rock throws. It's just a grade ape, right? And also they should give it to Gohan. because Gohan and Goku have the same kind of Great Ape hook. They're not really that different. It's the same model. So just give them to that transformation, that would be fine. Now I have Magetta and Botamo here, right? And I pick them because we're getting Champa. And if we get Vados, these two characters are pretty important for the Universe 6 versus 7 arc, right? Had to throw that in there. 6-7! But, you know, they have like a combo they can do too, right? That would make a whole lot of sense. Given the new combo attack we're getting with Vegeta and Goku, right? We have Botamo, who goes on top of Magetta's head and sits there and does like a spin thing. That would be a really cool ultimate for them to have. But these characters were kind of just pushed from the original game. I will say that. They were just pushed out from the original game and to help the game release faster, right? Because these characters most likely will be giants and were probably harder to, you know, make instead of just a regular character, so they were probably cut from the original content of the game. So it would make sense for them to come back, and it's really highly likely for them to come back. You know, they're not returning characters, they're new characters, but I think they have a strong chance of coming in, but they're not really that popular. Another character, though, that is kind of popular, Jaco, right? Taking that same logic of with Aurelie, Jaco is a character from another manga that Akira Toriyama made, right? From the Galactic Patrol. And he is pretty important, especially with the new arc that's coming out. So, Jaco most likely will get a spot. He feels missing. He does. It's like, why wouldn't we get Jaco? And, you know, he's kind of forgettable, too, at the same time. Because, you know, when we don't see Jaco, we're not really complaining about it, but why wasn't he added? It's just so strange to me. But it's probably by the same logic of Botamo and Magetta, he just got cut, right? And this DLC is just bringing stuff back from the original game and stuff that they didn't add originally, right? Another character is Haichiak. Now, he was in Raging Blast 2, and he is really the only Raging Blast 2 character that I'm mentioning, because I think Haichiak is really the only main villain from like a special that could possibly come back, right? Because Haichiak is cool. He's got a whole unique like moveset they can do, and he does feel missing. When you look at all the villains that we got every Z villain, right? We don't have Haichiak, so he does feel missing. And I think he has a strong chance of being in this DLC, because this DLC is just giving us stuff we don't have. Missing Pieces, that would be a fire name. Missing Pieces DLC, that would be peak. Now we have Tambourine, and I honestly wasn't gonna add him because I feel like nobody's gonna use Tambourine, right? All these other characters may get used at some point, you know, maybe Magetta and Botamo, Fascia, same thing. But Tambourine is probably the least likely character to be picked in the game. Nobody's picking Tambourine. But, you know, if we're getting King Piccolo, it would make sense to bring Tambourine back. And I'm not really complaining if they do, right? It's just a character from OG Dragon Ball representation. I'll take it. And then, obviously, probably the most hyped up character to come to this game, Android 21, right? Same with Super 17, you know, tying things together. But ever since we got Shallot, right? That opened the gate of other game characters, original game characters, to come into the game of Sparking Zero, right? Mira, Toa, Fu, Android 21 from Fighters, characters like that, right? So Android 21 has a strong chance because she's also in Xenoverse. She got added to Xenoverse, Legends, Dokkan, so she can totally be added to Sparking Zero. She has just a strong chance of being in the game. So yeah, these are just the characters that I think we're going to get into the game if they do more than what we already have, which I'm pretty sure they will, right? But yeah, I really hope I'm pretty sure I'm correct with a lot of this stuff. These are the most likely characters that we're going to get, right? And like I said, they all have kind of ties to the original characters that we have so far. But now at the bottom here, right, we're going to be getting costumes. And we already have 2 confirmed costumes so far, which is Teen Gohan Super Saiyan 2 from BoJack Unbound, which it'll just be for all Teen Gohan's forms anyway. And Hellfighter 17, which I'm pretty sure is just a costume, because what else would he really do? Unless they give him a new move with Hellfighter 17 with the jacket, that would be cool. Also, the black aura, that would go hard. I really hope they bring that. And then these 3, just for the 3 main characters, right? Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta, with their respective most requested costume to be added to the game, right? As soon as we got BoJack Unbound Gohan, everybody wanted BoJack Unbound Trunks, right? That's the most hyped up form. A lot of people want that in the game anyway. End of Z Goku, no question. One of the most iconic forms of Goku. A lot of people want it in the game. And then Badman Vegeta. You can't go wrong with that, right? These costumes just feel very necessary. Like, they already should have been in the game, you know? But, yeah, this is just my prediction on the DLC that we're going to get in the summer. Comment down below what do you guys think about this. Do you agree with my take so far? Do you have any other characters you would replace with the characters that I picked? Do you have any costume ideas? Let me know down in the comments below. It's been SJ Benj. Peace.